Thank you. Councilmember Wonsley.
First, thank you to my colleagues, Councilmember Osman and Councilmember Ellison, for raising a couple of things. I did want to provide clarity on some of the points that Councilmember Palmisano raised in terms of I keep hearing this very inaccurate framing of our policy efforts here, that we rushed and that it was done in a hasted way, a rushed way, without any consideration. And for a number of co-authors who are of color and who have earned an election certificate just like anyone else, I really want to push back on some of the problematic undertones of that, especially when it's public knowledge that we've spent 18 months on developing this policy. And it started with initiating conversations with the mayor's administration that provided the very first and original compensation proposal that they developed in consultation with other national experts from across the country. So one right there. 18 months of our due diligence in developing a legislative framework to drive this policy forward that was repeatedly analyzed by our own efforts. We asked the policy and research team to analyze it. We asked other national consultants to analyze it. We welcomed the additional analysis that came from the state. So the idea that we went into this ignorant and just did not care is just simply not true. Second, this idea that this body was responsible for the lack of execution on the bonding bill is also ridiculous. We entered into conversations months ago with our state leaders, as many of you asked us, especially Councilmember Palmisano. You said, wait, as Councilmember Ellison highlighted, wait on the state, talk to the state, and that's exactly what we did. And we informed all of you all in regular email updates about those conversations with the state, where the goal was to come to an agreement, because our goal has always been, yes, we want a minimum wage and protection-based policy for drivers here in Minneapolis, but we also want that for 10,000 drivers across the state. And that's exactly what we did. We entered in conversations a month ago and then reached the agreement that we had intended to pass today with the $127 per mile and 51 cents per minute. Unfortunately, conversations over the weekend took a different turn when Uber and Lyft upped the pressure on Walt, and we had to go back to the negotiations table. And I thank my council members, Chaudhry and Council Vice President Chugtai, for actually being there in the space to get us to a place of agreement. Also, state leaders know how to do their job. They know they had ample opportunities to pass a bonding bill prior to the end of session, and that is something that they had to deal with, along with disruptions from Republicans, which everyone saw over this weekend. So, again, the idea that we basically halted the delivery of a bonding bill, yeah, please miss me with that. And then lastly, the piece around we did not take up Mayor Frye's proposal. Every proposal that Mayor Frye gave to the co-authors formally through his administration, which was through the $1.40 per mile and 51 cents per minute, also the $117.34 per minute policy, those were all directly communicated to the co-authors in this body. And we seriously considered them. We did analysis that you all were here to receive input on and to also review. It is unfortunate that those policies, per the research, demonstrated that would have given drivers sub-minimum earnings. It would not allow them to take a minimum wage home that also included the cost of doing business here in Minneapolis. So Mayor Frye's administration, and he was directly engaged throughout this process, unfortunately, his proposals just weren't going to be what was needed to get us a strong policy at the state. In fact, I would say if we listened to Mayor Frye's subpar proposals at the local level, we would not have won the statewide policy that we got right now. So I want to disrupt and push back on that piece too. Mayor Frye's proposal was heavily considered in our deliberations around this policy. Also, I want to push back on this idea that we took up too much time. There is a number of bills here that people have been asking for rent control for several years now and ain't got it. So the idea that this took up too much time. The 2040 plan also needed state assistance to get through the finish line. That didn't take up too much time. We were willing to deliver on that. So I just want to highlight a couple pieces here.
Speaking of time, Councilmember,
yes, and
your
I'm
time
done
is
right now,
expired.
and I'll conclude.